How beautiful is this plant? Absolutely bountiful with its flowers, and you can see that every one of these buds is going to be another flower, and yet it's got some sort of a weed like thing about it, and you know, it's just at the corner of this building and it's on council property and it's not tended to. It's by the bus stop here, and beauty, you see, beauty emerging out of the least expected places. And so all these flowers bursting out onto the front to face the sun and to present itself to the world, and for those who have a mind to stop and pause and to look how wonderful they are, then your world will be richer. And we see that they've got the Fibonacci number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is very, very prolific in nature. Number 5, people. So when we look at the number 5, if you have a garden and you have flowers, go and see how many have 5 petals or 5 stamens in the middle of the flower, which distribute the nectar, the pollen. And when we look at the human being, we have 5 appendages in general, not counting the middle appendage on a male. But we've got head, 2 arms, 2 legs, so we have 5. And this is why we have the pentagram, which is so important, because it's indicative of man. It's indicative of the great importance number 5 is in nature for living things. So I'm speaking about Providence, not my pet friend, my squirrel Providence. I'm speaking about Providence, how we get provided by the cosmos with things that we require. And you see, the Bible speaks of providence. If you have faith, belief, and then you will be provided for, which is providence. And so I have built a new home for Providence, my squirrel, and I need a ladder to fix it to the tree, and the ladder needs to be about 10 feet for it to be adequate for the job. And so I've asked all my neighbours if they've got a ladder, and they haven't. And then, you know, a couple of weeks has gone by and people said to me, "Oh, have you got a ladder, you know, to put Providence's house up?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know anybody, you know, that's got a ladder. I don't know anybody really, to be fair, around the area." And I said, "But not to worry, because Providence will provide. The cosmos will provide me for it." And so I was speaking to my daughter about this, and I said, "Look, all we need to do," and she knows this now because we've spoken about this so many times, and she knows the veracity of this sort of stuff. All we need to do is think how we need something and just have faith that the universe is going to provide it, and then let it go. And so I said to my daughter, I said, "Look, I've put it out to the universe that I need a ladder. It needs to be, you know, at least 8 feet, you know, to do the job." And so I'll just let it go, and when the time is right, it'll come. And I said it doesn't need to come immediately, because Providence won't need the home until the weather starts to get colder. And so, you know, I've got several months, and so I was chilled about it. So I came out of my apartment and just started to walk up this road, and there's a 5-foot old bald guy. I don't know, he's probably about 60, maybe 65 or something, all bald and looking pretty old, and he's struggling cutting back the bushes and the hedge which are hanging over the pathway. And I just said to him, "You got your work cut out there, mate." And he went, yeah, you know, I'm trying to do this and I'm trying to do that, and it's a bit tough. And I said, yeah, you know, it's been left to go feral for some time. You got to go back in and cut it right back, you know, the thick branches and stuff like that. And next year it'll look pleasant, but this year it's going to look an eyesore. I said, have you just moved in? He said, yeah, just moved in there now to this terraced house. And I said, oh, is yours the garden with the big fir tree in the back of it? Because my apartment looks out over these gardens. And he said, well, you come and have a look if you want. And, oh, okay, I'll go and have a look. So he took me in to the back of this terraced garden. And you know, it's a long, thin garden. And these terrace houses, they split the garden in two. So you got one, well, you got two terrace houses, and they're only narrow, aren't they? And then they've got the back garden, and you've got the path going up between two gardens. So you've got one, like, you know, 8-foot, you know, bit of garden on the left, and one 8-foot bit of garden on the right. They were very frugal in the days when these terrace houses were built, because they were built just after the war. They were quickly knocked up to accommodate, you know, the survivors. And so not a lot of room, but there was ground to plant food, because we all planted food in those days. So it was imperative that you had some land with the food, but invariably it was just long and skinny. So he took me up to show me what he'd been labouring at, and how he'd took the ivy down from this beautiful silver birch tree, and now you can see it's a beautiful tree, and I've, you know, butchered this bush back and this and the other. And he said, you know, come round for any time you want a drink, mate. And so on the way back out of walking up the entry, you know, in these terrace houses they have an entry, a tunnel which goes between and under, you know, the main body of the house. Well, he's got all his stuff. Because you don't have a garage in this terraced house, and so he's got all his stuff in this entry. And I saw an 8-foot ladder which was extendable, and I went, wow, that's what I've just been looking for. And I told him about my mate Providence, and yeah, borrow it anytime you want, mate, come round anytime, have a beer and this, that and the other. And so, you know, I had a chat with him and looked around at what he'd done, and I said thank you. So I came out of that and I go, well, look, there you go, Providence. And just prior to that, I was sitting in my garden, which I invariably never do, but because I had just been around to the churchyard, and I was walking back and I had my deck chair in my hand, I saw a couple of the fellas there, and so I thought, well, I'll go and sit down with them. And then I had a half bottle of Newcastle Brown, which I started drinking in the churchyard. So I finished that, and I was having a good chat with them. And one of them was just starting to take up golf, and I said, well, I've got like 400 golf balls in my apartment that I've been gathering up. I said, I'll grab you a bushel. So I grabbed 30 balls and I gave him those, and he was very happy about that. So then I said, well, I'm going to go to the gym now and go and do my thing. And so, look, what I'm saying here is, people, is contrary to the wrath I bestow on the human race. Everywhere I go, I'm very engaging, very pleasant, very helpful, very amiable, and a sound quality human being. And nobody will ever have a bad encounter with me, unless, of course, they really try and fuck me over. And so there is a great contradiction going on. But you see, my videos, they are about instilling some sort of insight into people's erroneous thoughts, i.e. when people think that the world needs to be perfect and we should all be striving for perfection. The world is never going to be perfect, so accept that, and accept the failings, and accept your trauma and your suffering and your pain, because if you don't, then you make a mountain out of it. If you accept your pain and suffering and your trauma, and you look into it deeply and see what the message is, what the benefit is, and guaranteed there will be multiple benefits and messages in your trauma. And so this is what some people can do. We transmute the negative energy into positive life force. It doesn't matter what it is. You know, the deepest of trauma, we transmute that energy, people. Because at the end of the day, energy is energy. And it's how you use it, and how you feel about it. And so, just to look at that, because I was amiable, because I said, wow, you've got your work cut out there, bro. And then having a bit of a chit chat, and he was open, and then all of a sudden he invites me in, and I thought, well, why not? You know, I'll go in and have a bit of a chat with him, and you know, probably want to go round and borrow his ladder. He'll offer me a beer, he'll come round for a beer, and so I'll accept, and I'll sit in his garden and I'll have a beer. You know, and be a bit chatty and be a bit friendly, you know, which isn't, you know, what I do in close proximity, because I don't want to be burdened with that. I don't want any mates asking me around for a barbecue. I'm not the sort of guy, you know. But if I went to someone's barbecue, then I'd be, you know, very amiable, and, you know, I'd engage them all in very interesting conversation, and they'd all love Aaron, and they'd all want me back again. And so this is why I don't do it. You know, I like my own space, I like doing my own thing, and if I'm going to engage with people, then I like to do it in an arena where it's not expected that it's going to be a frequent thing. And so this is also why I act in a certain way on my channel, because if I acted so great, so nice, so amiable, I've had it in the past, I get inundated with people that want to be my friend and want to have a relationship with me. And how many women have I had offered me to go and stay with them, all expenses paid, even the flight all over the world. You know, even on occasions, I've had women fly from the other side of the world to come to see me. And, you know, there's only so much of this you can do, people. And, you know, reading people's emails, and then they ask you for advice, and then if you become a little bit friendly, then, of course, you know, you're obliged to give them your time, and, you know, all this sort of thing. So I tend to keep quite detached from all that, because my time is very precious. And, you know, I used to, in the past, do like talking therapy sessions. I used to do this with a lot of people, a lot of viewers. I would teach transcendental meditation, you know, for a fee. I used to charge £25 an hour for the talking therapy. You know, this is going back some I don't know, 8 years, I suppose, something like that. And I would charge £35 an hour for, you know, 1 or 2 sessions teaching transcendental meditation, because the Transcendental Meditation organisation want £1,500 to tell them the same information that I would tell them in an hour. And, you know, I could very easily charge £250. I will sneeze when I come up here. Obviously something to do with the pun. And so anyway, don't do this anymore. You know, it's not like I'm averse to it. I suppose I would, but I can't be bothered to promote it and advertise it and all that sort of thing. And then deal with idiots when you offer talking therapy or some sort of psychoanalysis or some sort of counselling. And you've always got the plebs. Oh, have you got a certificate? Who do you think you are? That you are? No, all this sort of stuff. And then I just want to take my sword out and run those fuckers through, because they're fucking plebs and they've got no fucking idea who they're dealing with. I don't need a fucking certificate on the wall. I've got 60 fucking years of earth fucking rovering. That's what I've got. And a brilliant brain which I've used to decipher it all. Fuck's sake. So I just tend to keep things simple these days. And so what I will say over and above that, in relation to providence, look, anytime we want anything, people, it's kind of like a miracle how consciousness works, because all we really do need to do is think about things, and they have a very uncanny, spookily way of making manifest. Now we can extend this by thinking about things on an ongoing basis and writing things down and putting pictures on a vision board and all this sort of thing. What we are doing, we are sending messages out to the cosmos that you are a creator and you are going to be creating something. And so a simple analysis is what banks want you to do. If you ask them to loan you money, they will ask for your business plan. They will want to see a very well thought out business plan which shows projection of a feasible amount of profit, which is going to encourage the bank to take you on board as a debtor to them if they loan you the money. So you write down your business plan, or when you write things down, you bring a certain level of that manifestation into reality. It starts off as a thought, and it's like a building with an architect. It starts off as a thought, but by the time the architect has drew it in 3 dimensions, it enters into this cosmos in a 3-dimensional image. It's bordering, it's shimmering into a reality. Then you get funding. Then you give the blueprints to engineers and they will tell you how the structure science needs to be, and then you employ builders to create it. And so it all starts from a thought, people. Everything's from a thought. So we are exactly the same as God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was good, and all that. Well, in our beginning is the Word, and we're thinking words, and then we implement words, and then we write down words, and then we draw things in relation to words, and before you know it, you have created, you've manifest businesses and all different sorts of things. So I've done this all my life with many, many things, and it really is miraculous how it works. The power of suggestion, the law of attraction, all these sorts of things, thinking yourself into, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, all those sort of things. You just think. And, if you think that you're lonely, you want to meet a partner, well, as long as you're thinking about that, then you will go that extra mile into helping create that. Now, for instance, I wanted this ladder, and if I didn't ever speak to anybody, then I would never be aware that they may have ladders. You see, that's how it works, people. You have to put yourself out there. Now, I spoke in the last 2 videos of what my life would be like if I actually did put myself out there, because when I put myself out there, I inspire everybody I meet. I bring something positive to the table from everyone I meet, and everyone I meet for sure is going to offer me something. They're going to offer me friendship, they're going to offer me meals, they're going to offer me venues, they're going to be offering me this, that and the other, and it's going to be vastly too complicated for me as a sedentary person. So that's why I move in very, very small circles, because when you are an enlightened being, your energy and your power is so contagious that you will just be pushed to the top of whatever it is that you're involved with. And I don't know whether I'm ever going to go out into the big world, but if I did, I know for certain that I would have such a powerful impact on everybody that I met that I couldn't fail to become absolute master of my own destiny. And have a whole entourage around me, feeding off what I'm creating, or sharing in what I'm creating. So we have to realise that we're really, really powerful. And many people over the years have said to me that I really let myself down because I could really be something. If I didn't spoil everything I did, I could really be something. And I've always known that I could do that, but it's a case of, not wanting to do it. And so that's where I am now, but I do believe that I'm at some sort of a crossroads. If I was made an offer I won't go seeking for it. I'm pretty certain that I won't go seeking for anything. But if I was made an offer, then I would seriously consider it and most likely accept whatever it was. Why don't you come and speak here? Or we've got this collection of videos that we want to speak to people, this and the other, we'd like to interview you. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Something that doesn't involve too much travelling, because I really can't bother to do the travelling. But if people were calling upon me to give my time online, then I wouldn't have any problem with that. But then you see, when you start to become more popular, then your email gets filled up, the comment section gets filled up, and people want to start, extracting your information, and they've got 101 questions, and at some stage, what I've had to say in the past, well, look, all this stuff is professional advice. If you want to ask me about this, that and the other, then that's life coaching, or that's psychotherapy, that's hypnotherapy, and so there's a fee pertaining to that, because it's my life, and as much as I'm giving much of my time away with videos and everything like that, there's a limit. And because I value my time so much, then it's kind of like, well, okay, 50 quid, that's a useful amount of money, £50 an hour. That is very average for therapy. Any 2-bit therapist out there that's got a certificate for hypnotherapy, this, that and the other, well, £50 is really the bottom line. Anything lower than that, you start to be suspicious. And so, I've seen online, anything up to about £125 an hour. And so I would want a minimum of £50 to offer people advice. And so if people had a decent amount of money, like if they're working, they've got a good job, they're on 40, 50 grand a year, then they wouldn't mind exchanging £50 an hour for information that I could impart to them, with the insight that I could see into their psychology and how I could help them. But most of my viewers, they don't have any money. Most of my viewers are struggling with life, and they have some sort of a depression or mind virus or something like that, and they come to my videos for free help. And barely in my life have I ever got anybody even to subscribe to a £10 a month subscription. And I'm like, well, listen, I'm richer than most of you by all accounts, and I haven't worked a stroke in 14 years. What's going on? Something's going on. So anyway, I'm at the portal now. I'm going to go through into another world. And this portal is this little opening in the hedge. And I'm going to walk through that, and I'm going to go into He-Man mode. And I'm going to be pumping it up like a Viking. So I'll see you when I come out.